the Watchin It podcast. On today's show, Donnell thinks advertising might have helped. Robert says a priest, an engineer, and a psychiatrist walk into an exorcism. Some news, another episode of Silo, and more. Mm-hmm. I'm your host, Robert. With me is Donnell. Little pre-news before we get to the main news segment. Excitement. Mm-hmm. Silo has been renewed for 2 more seasons, and that will be it.
Yep.
Additional news, they will be shot back-to-back the next 2 seasons.
Nice. I like a good show with a firm endpoint.
Yeah.
Because that means you're planning everything out. You're not just kind of shoehorning it. I will say, so the back-to-back thing, I like / don't like. I like because it's like, okay, we're getting all this stuff done. But I don't like because a lot of time when they do back-to-back, like, okay, so we're watching season 2 right now. They're going to film season 3 and 4 back-to-back, and then they're not going to release 3 until all the editing is done with 3 and 4. Like, a lot of times that's what they end up doing. Is a lot of, because other shows that they've done back-to-back, it's like still delayed, like where it's like, okay, well, you finished filming that previous season, and I was like, I'd like that now, but like, well, no, we're just gonna it's easier to do all the editing now and all that sort of stuff now, and I'm just like,
I imagine what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna not get a season next year, and we'll get a season in 2026, and then one in 2027. Because I think they'll finish up all the posts, they'll do all the principal shooting back to back,
right,
and then they'll do. I mean, there's not a lot of like, I guess there's like coloring. And sound work design and stuff, but there's not like a lot of CG.
I mean,
or anything like that.
Yeah, currently, you don't know if there's going to be more in later seasons.
There might be some. What I don't know is that they like shoehorn 2 seasons out of the first book.
Yeah.
Because literally, like the second season that we're in right now is like 1 chapter in the first book.
Okay.
So it's a lot to just make. So I don't know how, with all the stuff that's going to be going down. Happens in the next 2 books. I don't know how they're going to fit that into just 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about making movie or books into TV shows is that you always run into some, where do you cut the fat? Well, I mean, not fat, but because there's
not
no
a whole lot of fat in the next 2 books.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So do we end up losing stuff, or as you've already pointed out, plenty of changes. Though we did get at the end of this episode, we got something that you've talked about multiple times with what is it? His name's not Kyle. Is it Kyle?
Lucas. Oh, Kyle. Lucas. Kyle. Yeah.
Yeah, with Lucas becoming as you've talked about. So like like I said, they're definitely following the books to a point, but there's definitely some divergence. I'm not sure. Like, I'm wondering if this is gonna be like Invincible, or if this is gonna be because like Invincible. Not Invincible, The Boys. Yeah. Where the boys that we watch on TV is not the boys that you read in the comics. Like, it's very clearly this is a completely different universe. And I'm wondering if that's what they're going to do with Silo or not. Like,
you cannot really diverge from the books for the next 2 seasons and still get the same. I mean, it would be, it's not, there's not a lot of room to work with.
Yeah.
In
if you want to be where the same story.
Yeah.
And I mean, but that's the thing with
there's
the boys,
really only there's really only one ending to how Silo goes in the next, and by the end, and there's really only there's not really a lot of wiggle room of how you get there.
I'm really interested to see how this all pans out.
It's gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
Season 3 and 4 is gonna be wild. You get to learn all the things.
It's gonna get interesting.
Yeah, fun times. Well, let's talk about season 2, episode 6 of Silo, Barricade.
Yep. I mean, pretty straightforward because we get to see something happen with the Barricade in this one.
A little bit of a shorter episode.
Mainly in, I think we got one scene at the end in Silo 17. Yep. So we're pretty much in 18 for this whole thing. And we're just seeing, it just basically starts off with, I guess I won't say a full-on riot yet, but a uprising at the Barricade because they're stopping the porters. No one's getting through,
keeping them from getting food down.
Yeah, food and other things. And then we also find out that not only are they not getting food, and they didn't actually come back to this because they hinted at this, but they didn't really come back to this. Someone's poisoning the food, and it's somebody who's down there. Already. So like, it's not like the raiders are sneaking in, and like they brought that up. They're like, yeah, the only way this is poisoned is someone who's already down here, and then they just kind of that was that.
Yep.
I was like, I feel like that's a huge thing that you have a traitor in your midst, folks. Like if someone's poisoning the food, they definitely are not on your side. So I was like, yeah, that probably might be smart. Make sure they're not sitting in the room when you're talking about your plans and missions and stuff. Like, yeah.
So there's like two main stories and a couple of minor ones that happen in this episode. Let's talk about Patrick Kennedy.
Yes.
Kind of like that's the second the B plot.
Yep.
Where he's
Billings.
Getting, yep. They sneak the doctor down through the barricade to go and remove a bullet from him.
Yeah.
Kennedy doesn't want to tell them what he knows.
I can't figure out why exactly. Like, I mean, I guess maybe, I mean, like I said, one thing that Billings does say is he's a criminal. So I'm like, maybe, you know, Patrick Kennedy being a criminal all his life is like, yeah, I don't trust law enforcement sort of thing. But at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, you are pretty much like, you're at the mercy of these people.
Yeah. I like when he's like badgering the surgeon. I'm like, don't badger the surgeon.
I'm like, pretty much like, if you don't tell them what you know, you're screwed. Like, there's a possibility that Billings, I mean, he's not because he's Billings. We all know he's the most upstanding person in the silo. But yeah, there's a possibility that you'll tell Billings and then he just wants you to tell him so he knew that you knew and then he's going to ship you off to die somewhere.
Yeah.
But if you don't tell Billings, you are for sure going to die somewhere. So I'm just like, when he was holding out on telling him, I was just like, what are you doing, man? Like, you don't have, you have like a 15% chance of survival, but that percent chance of survival is in you telling Billings. Every other scenario, you have 100% chance of death. If you don't, like, all right, Billings is going to release you into the sheriff, and then Judicial's going to come get you, and they're going to finish what they started. Or he's going to, as he threatened with, he's just going to give you directly to Sims anyways, and they're going to finish off what they start. Like, there is no world where you survive without Billings protecting you. So you should tell him what you know, which he does ultimately. And I do love the way he puts it, where he's just like, if I tell you, you're gonna hate that I told you and regret it. And like, we get to see Billings sitting with his wife, just like I said, you can just see it. It's a little slower than I would like, but this man's world is crashing down around him as he's just realizing. I like that he's still a man of the pack. He's trying to be a man of the pack. He to kind of wrap up his story, he does eventually find Knox and Shirley. I mean, they're not really hiding; they're down in their office. Yeah. But anyways, he finds Knox and Shirley, and
I do love like they've developed a love story between Knox and Shirley.
Yeah.
And they're like kissing, and then like Billings walks in, and they're like, "Oh, we got to stop! Somebody might see us."
Yeah.
I'm like, "You're doing it in front of windows."
Yeah, it's a big old window. Like everyone can. I guess nobody's down there right now. I don't know. Why hasn't I was thinking about that? Why haven't the lower levels knocked out the power again? I feel like
they haven't found a need to yet.
I don't know, just to put pressure on the upper levels. I mean,
on the upper levels of sending them food. You know, they're not.
I mean,
they're not at war with the upper levels. They're at war with the establishment.
Yeah, but the establishment needs the power too. I mean, sometimes make out and a couple eggs got to get broken. But anyways, no. But yeah, he goes down there to get their word after talking to Walk about whether or not they killed Meadows. And I just love how he like, and it like they didn't tease him about it, but I just love how he makes him swear on the pact. He's like, "You swear on the pact?" Just like, I don't think the pact, like, to you that's a big thing, but I'm pretty sure to most everybody else in the silo, like,
I like that Billings' wife is also like a pack master.
Yeah,
and she's at the barricade trying to get through, and she's like, "You're in violation of Section 13." Section 6. Like,
I'm just like, I don't know how you could live with Billings and not like. I imagine. Like that woman loves him and stuff, but like every relationship, you have those things where just like this like that you deal with your partner, and I guarantee that's one of hers. Is this all the time where she's just sitting there and he's just like, "Hey, honey, did you hear about this part of the pack?" Here we go again. No, that's really interesting.
Well, I mean, we learned that like they read it like the Bible, like at dinner time and stuff. Like not just them, but like other people. Yeah. So they are probably well versed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say. Before we wrap up the story, when they're coming down and they get to that barricade and they're going through, I like that the one guard said, and I'm pretty sure this stands. Another reason why Billings didn't want his wife down there is he's like, if you go down there, I don't think you're like, I can't guarantee you're coming back up.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, I don't,
yeah, it's a one-way trip.
It's a one-way trip. Which, like I said, Dr. Nichols, I'm sure he's fine down there where the people who knew his daughter, but I'm pretty sure, like even when they were going through that crowd and she has her baby, I'm like, this is no place for a woman and a baby. I was just like, but on the other side of the coin, with Billings about to, or at least in my mind, with Billings about to flip on Bernard and
about to. I think he already has.
Yeah,
man.
already has. But with Billy doing that, it is probably better for his wife not to be somewhere where they could use her as a hostage. So
yeah,
it is probably
enough.
good that she's down on that side with him.
I thought it was interesting that his hands aren't shaking anymore.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
What that's about.
So it's like
so
you said
she's like, stop
herbs.
taking the herbs. Maybe the herbs are making
maybe
his
the herbs.
shake. Yeah.
Or my other thought is that, and maybe that had always been the thing, is he hasn't been directly around anybody in judicial, and I'm wondering if maybe he never, like, this syndrome or whatever that they have is something that they use to like hold over him in a sense, like they can it gives them some control over him because it's like, yeah, we'll look the other way or this and that, and maybe if judicial has been causing it all along.
Well, I mean, I've said before that the syndrome isn't something that's in the books.
Yeah, it's not in the books.
There's something interesting about it's because he's not on the upper levels. Maybe there's something wrong with the upper levels that causes the syndrome in some people.
Yeah,
because of what's going on outside. Like
maybe
some of whatever's going on outside
is getting in, and
there's a leak or something, but it's not making it down to the the lows. That'd be it'll be interesting. Be weird what
happens.
Interesting what they do with the syndrome and
yes,
and how that's all working out. Let's talk about the main segment, which is really just like the fight over the stairs.
Yes,
they're not letting the porters through with the food or any other kind of supplies, and they've decided that there's like a big like rally in the down deep. Where they're like trying to tell Knox and Shirley that they need to turn themselves in. Walk stands up and does a little speech that like they're making it us versus us. When it should be us versus them. But everybody's worried about starving. I'm like, it needs to be a couple of days before people really get this right.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things. Bernard has a scene where he's like, they say it's 9 mils, which is 3 days, which I think a little bit more than that, but 9 mils that is between civilization and chaos, and they're very much showing this in the lower level because everybody's freaking out. They get a supply drop. So we find out that they do have some allies, if not in the highest of levels, in the mid levels. Floor 122 sends some food in the short. I like how all of this, and I mean it plays into the whole thing of them having cameras everywhere, but still, I like how all of this is like in Bernard's plan. Because even when they let it know, it's like, hey,
it's all part of the order, baby.
Some of the higher levels are sending food down the chute. He's like, oh, ahead of schedule and stuff. So it shows, and I mean that's the thing that gets me is I wish we got to, because we got to see with Silo 17 that there was the same a revolt happened there. And I'm like, what happened differently in Silo 17 where it actually succeeded? Because my thing is like, okay, if the order has all this planned out, and then we also see, like you said, from seeing that there's been other revolts, that this is like a planned thing is, okay, the people get uprising, you blame mechanical and engineering, you starve them out or whatever, you have a revolt, you batter down the revolt, and then you reestablish the silo as it needs to be. I'm just like, okay, well then how come that didn't work in 17? Like,
because they shut down the power. That's the big difference.
Yeah. Okay, well, 18, why aren't you shutting down the damn power? You're turning off the power.
Well, look how it turns out. I mean, we don't want them to do that. Look how it turned out for 17.
I mean, I turn off the power, and then hopefully Julie gets back before everyone runs out into the wasteland. Or maybe they'll be smarter and they'll send out like a couple of people. Not just everybody. Let's all go without suits on. Like you send out like 1 or 2, and you see what happens. Because I mean that's the thing is in this scenario. Anyways, I don't know if, like I said, if something's wrong with the road, I don't know if I'm just rushing out there. Anyways, even after the uprising, I take it a little slow. But anyways, yeah. So
they decide they want to move the barricade from 130 to 120,
which I was very confused on how they were going to do this until the plan started developing.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
It was a solid plan.
Yeah,
very solid plan.
They have one team that goes and installs a winch, which I thought they were installing like that pulley elevator system that they talked about in the previous episode. But no, they're installing a winch,
which is still very illegal.
And I love how they do it like behind the stair pillars, so that way the people at the gate can't see what they're doing.
Can't do anything.
And another team goes and cuts through the floor with a concrete saw. Yeah,
cuts through the floor. So my thing is, as this is happening, we get to see that even though Sims is the judge now, and Armand is in charge of judicial, and you can even that Judicial doesn't trust him to run things. Like they're like, we still want to defer to Sims. And we get to see some more of. I am loving Camille. Camille is something else. One is we got to see her and Bernard kind of square off in a little battle of the minds a little bit when he comes into IT, and he's like, "Hey, we saw you helping the prisoners escape," but she had to answer all his questions.
Yep,
like 100%. And
this ain't her first rodeo.
Yeah, and then I love how he kind of throws that thing like, "What do you think Sims did?" It said when it helped. I was like, I was like, dude, she's running the show. She told Sims what to say. Like, I'm just like,
she is the law.
Yeah, I'm just like, and we get to see more of this when so they like I said, Judicial doesn't trust Armand, so they call Sims even though he's the judge, and he's like, hey. You know, they saw two groups, you know, one going towards the barricade, but one going the other direction with a concrete saw. And Sims meets with his wife. And I love how sees at first. He's just like, maybe we let them fail. Like, I just love how, like, she is so scheming. Like, the more I see this, the more I'm like, oh, see, at first was like, okay, she wants Sims to be the shadow. I was like, oh, no, she wants Sims and her, by factor, her, to be running this.
It definitely like
she wants to be in control of this.
Makes me rethink her character from season 1.
Yeah,
sure. Like if you go back and rewatch season 1, like her actions make a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, she's playing 4D chess.
Yeah,
everyone else is playing Uno
or
something like
tic-tac-toe, and she's over here with 4D chess and killing it too.
Crazy. But they do manage to push back the barricade.
Well, so before that, I was gonna say that was interesting with the Raiders is, I mean, I know they called ex-Raiders back into service, but the fact that like Camille can just still like go and rally up some people, and like she goes to the stairs and to give them the heads up, like, hey, I mean, unfortunately it wasn't enough. But yeah, so he's like, hey, they're about to come from the sides too. Like this is a plan, and I'm just like, Camille is a retired Raider, but I guess he can still.
She knows be a small silo.
Yeah.
You know, Raiders still talk. Once you cop, always a cop.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. So you may be
even though you're tired,
now.
You keep going to the cop bar.
Yeah.
There's probably a Raider bar.
There's definitely a Raider bar. Camille is well known there. I want more of her. I'm so glad.
But yeah, like I said, they managed to push the them back. They have a standoff on level 120. One group has guns. Yep. The other ones have armor and axes
and a lot more people.
Makeshift spikes. Yep. And
at first, because in the scene, the way they shot it, they're standing on the steps, and Knox is like, you'll kill 10 of us, but we'll kill all of you. And then they kind of pan the camera out, and I'm like, at first, because you only see the ones that are on that level, and then there's actually a gap on the stairs, but then you can see underneath there's more. Because at first, I was like, I don't know, Knox, man, it looks like you guys are fairly even numbered.
Yeah, I mean, if those are
in an even numbered
those are
fight,
automatic weapons, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's like in an even numbered fight, the team with the guns always wins.
Do you think they have a finite amount of bullets, or they're making new bullets?
I feel like they have a finite amount of bullets, but they do have I feel like somewhere in the silo they have somewhere where they can
seems
make
like a dangerous option to have.
But they don't have that running all the time. It's more of just like
nobody is. I mean, I guess you'd have to know how a gun works.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, nobody built their own gun or potato cannon, or something. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of the pressing keeping the freedom to think down. So I mean, keeping people in line.
But we find out that the reason they wanted to push the barrier back to 120 is because there was a farm on 122 that they now control. So now there's a big stalemate, which I'm sure we'll explore in a future episode.
Yeah, I do like when Sims finds out about the possibility of them coming up the country. We forgot that he goes to Bernard's office. And I do love when he kicks in the door.
Yeah,
and it's freaking Lucas is sitting there, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" It's like Lucas' life probably just flashed before. It's like, I'm about to die. I am dead. I am a dead man.
Well, that brings us to a minor storyline, but not unimportant.
Yeah, I'm about to say minor, but also major to the story. Yeah.
So Kyle is still working on decoding this hard drive and the secret message.
Yep.
Trying to figure out different ciphers for this code and stuff like that. And then it comes to a head that Bernard realizes that in order for him to complete his job, he needs to know legacy information, which I'm assuming is like pre-silo code crackers or something.
Yeah, or just knowledge. Because one thing Lucas he points out is as he's going through is that the name Allie shows up, which is the guy who made the cipher his daughter's name.
Yep.
But then he's like, none of the other words make any sense. And Bernard's like, I'm not sure if it's for sure that he needs pre-silo, what is it? Code cracking stuff. It might just be pre-silo knowledge in the sense of like, these things will make sense if you understood how things work before now.
But as the head of IT knows, the only way that he's going to get that information is if he's the IT shadow.
Yep.
So he swears him in as the IT shadow.
Yep.
Which I was wondering, ever since he went down to season 1, I was like, how are they going to get there? Are they just not going to have the character do that?
Yeah.
But it seems like they are.
He is now. So. And I do like, or I was just thinking, I was like, I feel like, because like I said, Sims wanted to be the shadow for so long. And I'm just like, if he finds out, like, that's going to be a slap to his face where he's like, oh, the guy who I had banished to the mind is now the shadow of IT.
Yeah,
like
that was my job, man.
The second most powerful man in the silo. What the hell is going on? Like, there's already a bit of a divide between Bernard and Sims happening, and this is not going to help.
I mean, the wife is the cause, man. She's playing them politics in the background. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much this season they're going to show us. It obviously a lot is shown in the books, but I don't know how much they're going to show us in the next few episodes of Kyle getting to look behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Like, how much are they going to show us through him some truths, some hard truths? Because once he gets behind that door, things gonna change for him. He's gonna see some stuff he can't unsee.
Yeah,
get some knowledge he can't unknow.
Man, I really want to know what he's gonna get to know.
And then at the very end, we have a brief scene in Silo 17, where Nichols is waking up from some kind of big sleep. She's had a big
she had an infection.
Yeah,
probably had a fever and all that.
Yep. And Solo Solo has stolen her suit.
Yep.
And is holding it hostage until she fixed the water pump.
Which, once again, just going back, and even in his argument, he's like, all these people could die. It's like, yes, 10,000 people could die. And I'm like, once again, it's like, dude, you have 3 months before it's even like. I mean, I know there's a possibility that, Julie never comes back. So he goes back to her silo and never comes back. But still, I'm just like, you have 3 months. She has who knows how long. So people could already be storming out the thing. Yep. So I'm definitely on her side. I'm like, I'm sorry, Solo. You got 3 months. She could go back, get everything under control, maybe even bring some engineers with her, get a whole squad out here to fix your silo in that time.
Yeah, or he could go with her.
Yeah. He won't leave. He can't leave the vault.
But good episode. Short. I mean, a lot happened, but it was more of an action-driven episode.
Yeah, it was like a lot happened, but it was like centered around one thing, which is like
excited. So I'm sure the next episode is probably going to be very 17-centric with her trying to fix the pump.
Yeah,
we'll probably get a little bit of 18 as well.
Yeah,
but that's this week's episode. Hey, if you like this podcast, you should check out our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find links to support us on Spotify and Patreon and all that good stuff. You should check out our pre- and post-Christmas episode. Or
pre- and just Christmas episode. Post makes
warning. The episode we made is great. The movie we covered is real bad.
But hey, we did you a service. Now you don't got to watch the movie.
Let's just talk crap about it.
This is usually on this show we're like, hey, we're about to talk about this. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. This is the one time we're like, nah, man, don't watch it. Just come listen to us. Just come listen to us.
Well, we got 4 more episodes of Silo left, I think. And we also got, then after that, we've got our best of episode. We got Severance coming out. It's exciting times.
Yeah. Very exciting.
In a couple of months, we'll have Daredevil.
Daredevil's going to be exciting. Really glad they got that. I'm interested to see if we're going to get more from the Daredevil universe. I think we should.
I mean, Fisk. Wilson Fisk is coming.
He's so good. He's so good. I mean, he's already there. He was in Hawkeye. Which we talked about, Hawkeye, even though it's season 2, but
he was in Hawkeye, and then of course he was in whatever the bad
Echo.
Echo,
yeah.
The worst of the shows, unfortunately. It could have been good.
It could have been good.
Interesting character, just badly executed. Whenever it happens.
I wonder if we'll see more of her in the MCU.
I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not. I think they did officially say now that there will be more Moon Knight because there was another one who.
No, they just canceled the season. I just saw that they just canceled the second season that was ordered.
Yeah, not Moon Knight, the show Moon Knight, the character in the MCU.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
He's gonna show up in some other stuff.
That would be cool.
His show.
I think that's how it should be. Yeah. I don't think he needs another show.
No,
but that character showing up would be awesome. Because I still need Thor to walk in there and then see Khonshu and be like, Khonshu, like, you know, they're buddies, and like they're just like, who are you hugging, Thor? And it's like, he's just hugging the air.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
All right, Donnell, what was helped by advertising?
Would have been helped.
Would have been helped.
So we talked about this a little bit last week. I hadn't watched most of it at that time. Now I have watched all of it, except for that. But Secret Level came out with its second part. I watched all the first part. One is, gotta say, totally agree with that Warhammer episode.
Yeah. We need $1 billion thrown into
something else, man. I was just
a trilogy or 7 seasons of something.
Yeah.
They can, after seeing that, I'm like,
Yeah. I was just like, damn. Like, I will say though, I mean, and it was nice because they do eventually fight something that is one thing that this is. I mean, war. It's I call it Superman syndrome.
Yeah.
Is the Space Marines, same with like so we did talk about them fighting each other, but outside of them fighting each other, Space Marines, what is it? Spartans from Halo. Superman, of course, and it's those beings that are just like watch. Like, it was cool, don't get me wrong, but watching the Space Marines plow through most of the things they had to fight, I'm just like, what's the even point? How is this even a conflict? How has this Warhammer war has been raging for? I think like they say like 10,000 years and stuff, and the whole time I'm like, how you got these walking tanks, these mammoth beings who are just annihilating everything in front of them. And like I said, they did eventually
nonchalantly.
Easily.
I like the one guy who just stands there and just takes a tank to the face, and the tank just falls apart. Yeah. And then you're just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna keep walking now.
Time to keep on going. Like I said, we did see him run up against basically like a psycho being. Psychic being, and that did stop most of them. But for the most part, I'm just like, what is this? Well, like I said, it was great to watch, but I'm just like, this is exactly what and stuff. But no, the Warhammer episode was pretty good. So the reason I say advertising might have helped is it's very interesting. So like I said, all these were based off of different different video games. The Mega Man one was probably my biggest letdown, just because like it was.
I did not like it. Yeah, it was not good.
Quick. It was like the sort of
none
episode,
of the second half of them were any good in my opinion.
So I disagree. And the one I'm going to talk about is also the one that I'm just like, yeah, maybe if you had thought this out better, this could have played out better. But like the Mega Man one was the worst. I also from the first half, I forgot about the
Unreal one.
The Unreal one was pretty good, but no, the what is it? No, I can't. The one with Keanu Reeves. The
Armored Core one.
The Armored Core one was another one. Was like I could
get
use
a movie
some more
on
of that.
Yeah,
a movie or something. But yeah, so they did their second half, and there was one episode in there called or based off of the game Concord.
Yeah, that one was kind of fun for the first half.
Yeah.
But after they got through like onto the ship, it kind of got boring for me. But it was definitely fun at first. But it is funny because Concord is like the biggest failure in video game history.
And my big thing is this. I was like, and because I think one thing you could say about Secret Level is it could possibly be looked a little bit as advertising. Yeah. A show about advertising just for video games. It also could be, setting up lore. So I'm not saying it's just that. But I'm like, I watched that Concord episode because before that Concord episode, and part of the reason why it was a big flop is no one knew really what it was. It's like, it's a new hero shooter and stuff. And like, why should we care? There's already stuff out there and stuff. Yeah. I watched an episode of Concord.
I still know nothing about Concord.
No, I don't know much about it. But I watched an episode of Concord, and after watching it, I was like, I'd be more inclined to play the game now. After watching the episode. I was like, maybe, and this is just my thought process, maybe you should have waited till Secret Level came out.
Yeah.
Have everybody watch the episode, and then maybe like the week after, and here's Concord. But I just like, this was so weird, because I just was like, I watched it, I was like, if you had shown that beforehand, I'm not saying for sure it would be a success, because there's probably a lot more to go in it, but all I know is, one thing is, everybody had such a meh attitude towards it because it's like they knew nothing about it, and it's just like, you just were like shoving it down our throats. Where it's like, if you would have given us something, anything, this episode. And so I just watched because I
dodge advertising and I don't keep up with video games. But I had never heard of Concord until I saw the news article that it was being shut down and refunding everybody's number like 12 hours after it was released.
It was just like here and then gone. The one about Splunky was pretty bad. That one.
It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't great either.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they were bad in the second half. They just, none of them inspired me the way some of the
I was very, very disappointed in the first or the second season, the Outer Worlds one. Because I like the Outer Worlds game. I liked a lot and stuff. And they did play into that universe a little bit of because like in the Outer Worlds game, basically it's capitalism taked into the max, where basically everything is run by corporations and it's all about this stuff. And so they played into that a little bit, but then like they just kind of like, I don't know, like just the overall character we followed was just a doofus, in my opinion, who for whatever reason, they never explained why, but he couldn't lie and stuff. And he was just like a dopey dude who just was, I don't know, it just was like such a letdown. I felt like they could have done so much more with it. But no matter how you feel about it, they've already confirmed that Secret Level is getting a second season. So there will be more of that. And also, we talked about, we compared it to Love, Death, and Robots. Yep. Want to know why it compares so well to Love, Death, and Robots?
Same people.
Made by the same people. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I found that out afterwards. I was like, oh, Tim Miller, the creator of it, is literally the guy who makes Love, Death, and Robots. I was like, well, that makes sense.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
It's a small world.
Yep. But yeah, so that's what I've been watching.
Fantastic.
So Robert,
I got a lot for us to talk about today.
Yeah,
Donnell.
Yeah.
First, I watched the second Joker movie.
Okay.
Folia Do or something like that. I didn't hate it.
Really?
I didn't hate it.
Really?
I could not watch and still have not watched to this day the entirety of the first Joker movie.
Okay.
I got the broad strokes. I saw the end where he shoots the guy.
Yeah.
I watched every second of the second one.
Really?
I think the ending is crap.
Okay.
I think it's kind of annoying that they didn't advertise it as a musical. I don't think it's a musical.
You don't think
it has a lot of musical elements to it.
Right.
But I would not consider it a musical.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's something there. I think it might be so good that people just didn't get it.
Right.
Like I said, the ending sucks.
Right.
It's not the best. It's got some problems.
Mm-hmm.
But like the first 3/4, maybe 4/5, I was pretty on board with.
See, I've been because I have HBO Max and I will go in there to watch Creature Commandos and stuff like that, and it keeps popping up, and I'm just like, nah, man. But now I'm gonna have to.
No, I was just bored one day, doing my crochet, and just threw it on. Yeah. And I watched the whole thing, and I was not. Again, I don't think I'll ever watch the entirety of the first one.
Yeah,
but I watched the whole second one, and was not disappointed that I watched it.
Okay,
there is musical stuff.
Yeah,
but that's the magic of it. The musical is the magic. That's what makes it good, is because he's kind of living. I mean, he's living. It's so real and raw.
Yeah,
of him being in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah,
and being a prisoner. But he kind of is escaping into his own head with these unprompted musical events. And I don't know. I did not think it is deserved the kind of hate that it just gotten.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's the best thing ever. I'm not saying it's for everyone.
Right.
But if you like kind of avant-garde, got to look, peel into the onion kind of art,
right,
might be worth checking out.
Okay.
Don't just not watch it because of the haters.
Okay,
but I can understand why a lot of people would hate it, because it's not a movie for everybody.
Right,
and it's just weird and different and whatnot. Yeah,
I might even check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Maybe you'll hate it. I don't know if it's a movie for you, Donnell.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just saying that when I watched it, I was surprised that I enjoyed it and did not hate it I expected to. But I went in with very low expectations, because I did not like the first one, and which is odd because a lot of people love the first one. So anyway, that's where it's at for me. I just thought
Interesting.
bring that up. We had the series finales of 3 shows this week. First one is going to be Yellowstone. Just ended. You got, whether you like cowboys or not,
right?
It's whether you like ranching or Montana or conservatism or whatever. I think it's just a good show. It is really good. I mean, it spawned like 2 movies and a spin-off series. I have not watched 1883 or any of that other stuff. I'm not really interested in doing it, but it's probably pretty good, and I should. But yeah, Yellowstone just ended. Had a solid, great ending. I don't think there was a bad episode of the entire show. I think it's like 7 seasons or something. Just amazing and really good. And glad they didn't drag it out. And yeah.
Okay.
What We Do in the Shadows has ended.
That
series finale.
Oh man, yeah, I haven't seen it yet. But
final episode is them packing up the equipment for the documentary.
Oh,
it's like
man.
them. Yeah, it's like the entire episode is.
I did not know we were getting this series. I gotta watch it now.
Why can't I think of the name of their
Guillermo?
Yeah, is like freaking out because they're shutting down the production.
Yeah,
and he's just like, oh my god, like what does it mean? We gotta have a good last final episode. We gotta get everything in there. All the vampires are just like, look, we're like hundreds of years old.
Yeah,
man.
this is
it's just another day and all this stuff. I would say this season has been kind of weak.
Yeah,
this final season, it's not bad.
Yeah, but comparatively,
I like them bringing in the monster, Cravensworth's monster.
Yeah,
which is really Colin Robinson's monster. There's some fun that they do with it. I didn't really like the Wall Street arc that they did and whatnot. You know, they can't all be the best seasons, but it's over and it's done with. And yeah, it is a show that existed, one of the greatest of all time.
Yes,
very much fun. If you like the movie, if you haven't seen the movie What We Do in the Shadows, you need to go drop everything and watch it.
Yes,
right after you listen to this podcast. And then check out the show because the show is just as good as the movie. And then lastly, series finale of Lower Decks. This season was kind of trash. Last couple of episodes were interesting. Kind of ended with a thud to me. Yeah. You know, it wrapped things up.
Yeah.
But it
is. It is what it is.
I mean, Lower Decks was always kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
You know,
it was pretty hit or miss. I feel like it's definitely something that it wound down as it went, because I feel like season 1 and 2 were a lot more hits.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3. Yeah, there was definitely a slump, and yeah.
It was funny though, because at the very end, Rutherford, he decides to remove his little ocular implant. Yeah. And that was suppressing his emotions the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's why him and Tendi never got together. And they kind of alluded to like, okay, now that that's gone, he's caught the feelings, and maybe that'll go somewhere. Tendi was such a great character through the whole season. But
he was fantastic.
Yeah, 3 shows in the kick the bucket in 1 week.
That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. And then lastly, I discovered a old show.
Okay.
New old show that has just completed this year.
Okay.
In its 4th season, called Evil.
I have not watched it, but I have heard of it.
I think I slept on this show because I was getting it confused with another show called Dark.
Yeah.
That I've tried to watch a couple of times. I hear Dark is really good. Or maybe I'm getting that confused with hearing that Evil is really good and then thinking that it was Dark. So I just kept ignoring it. And the synopsis, which I don't have on hand, is kind of like lackluster. But there's 2. It came out in 2019, just ended this year. 2 seasons are on Netflix. All 4 seasons are on Paramount Plus, which is kind of odd that they split it up that way. But maybe they're like trying to be like, oh, people have Netflix. Let's just wet their beak with a couple of seasons, and then they'll have to come over to Paramount Plus to watch the other 2. It is about a psychiatrist, an engineer who is a former Muslim. Psychiatrist is like agnostic and a former Catholic, and a Catholic priest who are in charge of investigating for the Catholic churches, requests for exorcisms, miracles, demon possessions, things like that.
Yeah.
They're the assessors. They're like, okay, is there a scientific explanation for this, or is this really something that the church needs to handle, kind of thing? It is one of the best shows I have ever seen. Possibly top 25 of all time.
Very strong.
I binged all 4 seasons this week. Could not stop.
Damn.
It is hilarious.
It is hilarious.
It is scary.
I did not see that.
It is mysterious.
Okay.
It is wacky. It is ridiculous. It is beautiful.
It is a lot.
It is amazingly acted. It is amazingly written. Has a super solid ending. After you watch Supernatural, Donnell, this is what you got to watch next.
Okay.
Do not start this until you finish Supernatural, because you've got time right now to do Supernatural.
Yes, I do.
The only time in your life you're going to have to do Supernatural. But if you watch one episode of this, you're going to watch all 4 seasons before you watch any more Supernatural, and then maybe you'll be out of time.
Yep.
It is, I cannot tell you anything about the show. Don't read anything about the show. Just go watch it. It is really, really good.
Yeah.
Easily top 25 show for me of all time.
Nice.
Just, wonderful.
Okay.
That's all I got for this week.
All right.
I mean, I got a lot more, but we only got so much time, and I could talk for hours about anime.
Yeah. All right. I got two little quick tidbits of news. Both related to superheroes. Both Marvel, but not both MCU. So one is news, and one is just more just a how sort of thing. So the first news is, I've talked about it a little bit before, or a couple times now, but just another confirmation of this movie that's coming out that I still just don't know if they can pull it off. It's up there. But Fantastic Four coming out next year.
I do not like the images I've seen of the Silver Surfer.
No, I have not. I've seen some production photos that they've put out there, and so far I'm like,
the thing does not look good.
No, I'm not liking the look. There's time to fix the look. Like, if it's just the way things look, that can be fixed. You can put that in front of the test audience, and they'd be like, hey,
they fixed Sonic.
That looks wonky. Let's fix that. So if it's just the look. But I'm just like, where's the story? How's the acting? There's just the fantasy. It's just. But anyways, it's 100% confirmed. It's gonna be one in 1950s, whatever. 2, it's a different universe than the main universe, and 3, there's no other heroes in this universe. So
and they're gonna fight Galactus.
They're gonna fight Galactus. Yes.
It's the worst.
It's one of the things.
The only thing worse that I've heard recently is, do you know who is going to play Skeletor in the Masters of the Universe movie?
I didn't even know there was a Masters of the Universe movie.
They're making a Masters of the Universe movie.
Okay.
They've cast Skeletor with Jared Leto. Donnell is wincing. You can't hear it on the podcast. He went into physical pain.
Like, did they learn nothing? Here, I'm gonna listen. Just
There's no words, Donnell. You can't.
Jared Leto can act. Okay.
Yes, I've seen him in some wonderful things.
Exactly. Yeah. He is not the right type of actor for comic book or that kind of movies.
What kind of Masters of the Universe movie are they making if they cast Jared Leto as Skeletor? He is not a comedic actor.
He is not. No.
They've got to do it super over-the-top campy and comical if they're going to do a Masters of the Universe. Somebody suggested, well, there's 2 things I saw on Reddit. First is like, somebody, in response to it, they said, he has the best agent, Jared Leto. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, he's got an agent that has some power behind the scenes for sure. And then someone said, you know who should play Skeletor?
Who?
Bill Hader.
Okay.
I can't argue with that.
I could get into that.
Yeah.
I could get behind that. Yeah. But anyways, so Fantastic Four movie still out there, but like I said, we got confirmation of things. I mean, it's obvious. I've already heard that the Fantastic Four people are also going to help fight. So they're obviously going to be brought in either in their movie or some other time, because they're going to be part of fighting Doomsday, which makes not Doomsday, Doctor Doom, which makes sense because he is he's everybody's villain, but he principally starts.
Look, we're breaking the walls of the multiverse, so anything can happen.
Exactly.
Now.
And so then our other story is not from DC, not this time. It's from the dying other superhero universe, the Spider-Verse, as they call it, from Sony. This article came out after Craven and Madam Web.
Did Craven come out?
Craven came out.
I had no idea.
So here's the thing that's interesting. Craven has a lower rating than Madam Web,
which I have not seen that either.
Yeah, but everyone says that they don't think like Craven is bad. Don't get me wrong, Craven is bad. Everyone says Craven is bad, but everyone says they don't think that Craven is actually rated or is worse than Madam Web. They think Madam Web is ultimately the worst out of all of them. But the thing is, it's just like Craven is just like they just want to make the statement clear, like stop, like, stop what you're doing, Sony. Just stop. Yeah. Which I totally agree with. But anyways, this article came out because apparently some people looked into it because everyone always says, why is Sony making this universe without Spider-Man? Why make a Spider-Man? And it was always touted that, one was like I said, Sony always had all the rights to Spider-Man all in his Rogues Gallery. That's why they have Venom and Craven and all that stuff. But Marvel, MCU, they wanted Spider-Man in the MCU. So they worked out a deal, and they're like, yeah, Spider-Man coming in the MCU, we're keeping the villains, you can have him. And then what everyone thought was the deal was that Disney's like, okay, well, then you can't have Spider-Man in your universe. Not the case. Looking back through it, there was never any part of the deal that said Sony couldn't have Spider-Man. There was never any part of the deal that said they couldn't even have Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Interesting.
So, and I'm just going to read the top paragraph of this article. Don't even have to go any deeper than this because I'm just like, what were you guys thinking? It looks like Sony's Spider-Man universe could have featured Marvel's live-action Spider-Man character, such as Tom Holland's Peter Parker, but the studio heads felt that audiences ultimately didn't want that. I'm like, what were you smoking? We're like, nah, no, we don't want Spider-Man in the they called it the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. The greatest actor to play Spider-Man.
Yes.
We didn't want that.
We don't want him.
How much did the MCU Spider-Man movies make?
Yeah,
$3 billion. $1 billion for each one.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys didn't want a piece of that pie.
I'm just like, they got a piece of that pie. They did.
Craven.
No.
Oh, they did. No, they did get a cut.
Sony,
they did get their
Sony
cut,
gets a cut of everything. So, like I said,
did they? I mean,
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Whatever marketing group or ran that focus group, fire them.
Yeah.
And
I hope
blackball them from the industry. Whoever said to Sony, "Hey, don't do that."
Yeah.
Fire them and blackball them from the industry forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm just
that's the equivalent of like head of Microsoft guy saying that you'd never need more than like 182 kilobytes of RAM or something.
Exactly.
It was like
no.
You would never need more than 35 gigs.
Yeah.
Of my god.
Yeah, space. Yeah. It's just like, no, shut up, stop. But with the fall of the Spider-Verse, hopefully, I'm just hoping. I've said this many times. I do not want Sony to sell Spider-Man to the MCU, but I would love for them to work out a deal where those characters could show up in the MCU. Besides just I would love some actual Venom in the MCU more than that cameo.
I like Venom. By the way, I did see the last Venom movie.
Yeah.
It was meh.
Yeah.
As meh as all the other movies and whatnot.
But meh is so much better than how terrible the rest of the Spider-Verse movies
I'm trying to think
been.
what protagonist or antagonist I like in Spider-Man. I like
I'd love some
Wilson
Doc
Fisk,
Ock.
but we already got him.
We already got Fisk. I'd love some Doc Ock.
Doc Ock, okay.
Yeah,
I feel like he's done. He's done with though.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Jonah Jameson, but he's already
in.
Ported over. They took all the good.
Yeah, they took the good stuff. Let's see. Is there anybody who really would be great in? I mean, Doc Ock has been in the MCU. I forgot. Yeah. Okay, so who of the people who haven't been, is there anybody really besides Venom?
Spider-Man doesn't have a great rogue.
I would really like Venom and maybe Carnage in the MCU. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. I don't like you said. Doc Ock and Green Goblin's already been in there, along with Electrode and the Lizard, which
they all suck. They all suck.
Yeah, no, they got the main guys. So yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah,
I walk back my statement. I think we're good, folks.
Yep. Marvel made a good deal on that one.
Yeah, they did. They got everything they needed. Solid. But anyways, yeah, that's it. That was just my news. I just thought that was just bizarre that Sony was just like, hey, what if we made, like I said, I always assumed.
Hey, look, I say like I would have never expected a show about Gotham without like the Batman.
Yeah,
like. I mean, they obviously had pre-Batman.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that would have worked, and it's one of the greatest things.
Penguin was solid.
Yeah. Penguin was real solid.
Penguin was freaking fantastic. I think I saw something talking about maybe there's a Penguin season 2 coming out. They're gonna do a Penguin season 2.
I'll take it.
And I'm pretty sure it comes out before the second Batman movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. It'll be interesting. Anyways, yeah, good stuff.
Well, that's the show. Check out our website. Email us with stuff.
Yep.
Check out what we got coming up. Silo.
Yep. Severance.
Christmas stuff.
Christmas stuff should be out by now if you're listening to this. So check out all that. Do not watch the movie. I mean, if you want to, that's your prerogative. Just don't get upset with us afterwards, because we're telling you right now, don't watch the movie. Just listen to the podcast, and then give us any ratings, reviews, and 5 stars. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.